So Hulu has a new movie called Mr. Crocket, and this is about a woman who has a problem with her kid, and she can't keep him in line, and she's tried everything, and then she finds tape for Mr. Crocket, and she's at her wit's end. And she's like, I'll try anything. And she throws it in the VCR, lets it play, and the kid becomes very quiet and is paying attention and giving her some peace and serenity. But unfortunately, that tape has Mr. Crocket on it. And Mr. Crocket is not a good guy.
He sure is not.
No. So, when we saw the trailer to I Saw the TV Glow, it kind of gave me this idea that these kids would be watching this television show and that the television show would be coming into their world and coming after them and whatever, very similar to Channel Zero, Candle Cove, Season 1. And while that's kind of sort of what happens in I Saw the TV Glow, this is much more of what I thought I Saw the TV Glow was going to be originally. That is not saying anything bad against I Saw the TV Glow. I'm just saying it's a different film than I expected it to be. But this movie more was in line with that, where this is set in the 90s, much like I Saw the TV Glow. And that was the 90s, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Everything's the 90s now. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
The 80s is kind of old hat now, and now the 90s is the nostalgia for my generation, since that was my era where I was like a teenager. Anyway, so yeah, the fact that this is more in line with that was fun to me, because that's kind of what I was looking for, and I had a really good time with this. This reminded me, of course, of something like what if Mr. Rogers was evil and could come to life through your TV and snatch you up. And it had elements of another show or movie, should I say, but I'll let Kaylee tell you about that one. But yeah, it's a fun movie. And it has some cool parts to it, but I don't want to steal too much from you.
Oh no, I really liked this as well. I totally understand what you mean about it. Kind of like, this is a it's a totally different film from I Saw the TV Glow, but I get what you're saying about that, because I think that probably that's what a lot of people thought watching the trailer for I Saw the TV Glow, which ends up being a lot more like introspective and artsy, I suppose. Yeah. But this one I thought was really rad. I thought that the 90s aesthetic was captured really well. Sometimes we like the one movie that we watched recently, Monster Summer or something, that was set in the 90s, and we were so disappointed with the aesthetic and like how it did not feel like the 90s. I feel the opposite about this. There's not like a ton of things that make it feel like the 90s, but I thought that it was captured well. Like our main character, the mom in this, I really liked all of the outfits that she was in. They felt very 90s. And everyone gave a great performance too. Like Mr. Crocket, the actor that played him, he did a great job. He was really creepy to me, and I love the analog. I've always been a fan of like analog horror involving like VHS, and like there's like some. It's really cool. Just everything you would want from a like evil haunted television show that people don't remember. And I don't know what show you're talking about that it reminded me of, because I don't...
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, yes. There's a little bit of that, for sure. Because there are some puppeteering and creature designs that are very similar to that kind of vibe with the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's, which I was a big fan of, too. I really love the practical effects. There's some good gore in this that we weren't expecting. Some good kills. And it was just great. It was really creepy. And the other thing that I liked about this, too, is that... I think sometimes whenever we get an evil villain character that's doing stuff with kids, it's really easy to make it like pedophile And that's not the case in this at all, which I really like. I actually think that the story that we get, like the backstory about Mr. Crocket, I found to be really interesting, and it just kind of made him a fuller character to me. So yeah, it was really enjoyable, very entertaining, very creepy. I like the stuff on the TV, like interacting with the world, like looking out at people and stuff. I think that's really cool and very scary. But yeah,
there's some ominous scenes in
very
here
ominous.
with and there's actually one in particular where like the video slows down to make it look like something. I really liked how that was done. That was probably my favorite gag with that specific idea. I wish I would have gotten a little bit more from the kids, because they're done in a way that's very creepy towards the end, and I was like, ooh, I would have liked more out of that. But what we do get is fine, and maybe it would have become repetitive and I wouldn't have liked it, so maybe it was just the right amount. I don't know. But with this also being set in the 90s, it actually reminded me of the movies that they used to make, that they don't really make as much anymore. This felt like something that would have come out in the 90s, like The Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard, or Dr. Giggles, or something like that. Something that I feel like we don't really get as much anymore, because films now, I feel the horror genre, people don't like the silly horror characters as much anymore. The 90s was just loaded with them. There was a whole slew of really, really like The Dentist, or those were the types of movies they were making in the 90s, and I actually love all of those titles. I'm a big fan of that kind of silly character coming into our world that is based on something more childish, or some deep-rooted fear that people have, like going to the dentist, or the ice cream man's driving past your house and he's gonna put you into his confections.
Well, the other thing too with this concept in particular is that it really does capture something from a different time, because I don't feel like there's no like Mr. Rogers or Reading Rainbow of today, at least not that I know of, like an iconic, kids television show with an adult who's there with a bunch of other kids, like teaching lessons with puppets and stuff. Like, I know Sesame Street still happens. Blue's Clues is something that I watched when I was younger.
There's something on now.
I do think that it feels more of a product of like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Because I think that nowadays a lot of kids are watching like YouTubers that's kind of more their era.
Oh, there you go. Blippy,
I guess, is the one for now. Today.
Yeah.
And maybe that will be iconic to people, but Blippy is also like a very young kid crowd, right? Like, isn't he like more for like toddlers?
He's for toddlers.
Whereas like Mr. Rogers and Reading Rainbow, like I feel like those extended more to like 10 to 12 as well, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like they're a little bit, they're not older kids shows, but they're older young kid shows, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that I think that feels very nostalgic in general.
Barney.
And this. Yeah, Barney's maybe a tiny bit younger than what I'm thinking, but yeah. This is another one that reminds me, I think I talked about it when we were discussing like the upcoming titles maybe, but there's a book I read, I'm going to check the name of it actually really quick, but I think it's called Mr. Midnight, which I've mentioned on here before, and if you like this movie, that book is like super similar. I don't think it's Mr. Midnight. Oh, maybe it is. I don't want to spend too much time. No, I'll figure it out and I'll have him put it in the description. But anyway, it's very similar in terms of like old kids show that has some ominous undertones and things going on. But yeah, this was great. This was a really good movie.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you there. All right, bye.
Bye.